class. And here's a warm welcome from BMS School of Architecture Yelahanka. So we have a small product design elective class running, and the students are looking forward to interacting with you. Samyuktha. So I will introduce the speaker to you. So good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce today CP Samyuktha Nair. She's a designer who creates thoughtful and engaging experiences in her work. She's interested in how design can make everyday things easier, clearer, and more enjoyable for people. Through her projects, she explores new ideas, experiments in different ways of solving problems, and focuses on making things that are useful and meaningful. So you can visit her website, Samyukta Nair, and you can get to know her work more. Samyukta has a bachelor's in product design from MIT Pune and a master's in design for retail experience from NID Delhi. She currently works as a product designer for Air India. Today, we have invited Samyukta to share her journey, her experiences in design, and some things that she has learned on the way, and some tips for you as budding designers. So please join me in welcoming Samyukta Nair.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction, and it feels amazing to be a part. Right, so we'll try something different before we start. Can everyone just tell me your names? Because I honestly thought everyone's video will be off, so now that I can see your faces, might as well like have all of you tell your names, if
So
you
I,
don't mind us. Yeah.
yes. So I'm
That's
Elsa Nicholas. I
mhm.
am the tutor for this class. So our students are from fourth semester of Bachelor of Architecture.
Right. So we'll start from right behind you then. I'm making your life a little more harder, I get that, but like it'll be nice to know all of your names.
I'm Brenda. Brenda.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
I'm Dhriti. I'm Isha.
Okay.
Myself, Lalithya.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Ishwar.
Okay.
I'm Urvi.
We'll start with the green t-shirt one. Yeah, sure.
I'm Urvi.
Okay.
I'm Prithvi. I'm Nikisha.
Wow, all of your names are so differently unique. Okay, next one.
I'm Ria.
Okay.
I'm Brenda.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Shinant.
Tatwik.
Okay.
Madhurya.
Okay.
Anand.
Okay.
Vaibavi.
Okay. Awesome. That's it. That the hard part is over now. I do the talking. Don't worry. You guys don't have to worry about that. So what I'm gonna do is share my screen and then you let me know if you can see it.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. Right. So heads up, since all of you have taken a product design elective, that is awesome. But I'm not going to teach you how to design a good product because I personally believe that it needs to be your own discovery through your trial and error, right? But what I can help you with is to keep a few things in mind when you design a good product, right? So today's topic is design for the living, and I'll tell you why that is named that way, like towards the end. Now, the first thing when you Google product design or you search for it in Behance and Dribble, I hope, okay, yeah, by the way, if you aren't familiar with platforms like Behance and Dribble, it's where you put your work out, right? This is pre-website era. You find stunning eye candy images, great lighting, excellent renders, and it almost feels perfect, right? And there's nothing wrong in it. It needs to be a certain way. But you need to also understand that it's just 5% of the design. There's a whole 95% that's all hidden. Now, what would that constitute of? That is designing for users, which is context, understanding their culture, where they're coming from, understanding ergonomics, things like semantics. Again, we'll get over there. But there's a whole chunk where you need to think of who you're designing for. Now, even when you account for all of this, there's a high chance that most users won't use the product that you designed the way you intended to. Did you ever think a chair would be a coat hanger, right? But that's the fun part of design. Have you ever thought why we put oil or butter before cooking in a non-stick pan? I mean, it literally says non-stick, right? Um, this is where context comes. We don't design for empty spaces. We don't really design for isolation. We design for people. Now, people bring in their habits, they bring in what they used to. So, we don't really design objects, but we design the relationship between user, product, and their environment. Something that you also need to understand is that we come from a country, a community where you buy the product, but it doesn't end over there. When the product stops working, we live in a country where we give it for repair. It could be appliances, watches, radios, something as large as even your computer or TV screens. Now, this isn't just the products that you bought the other day. It's what your parents bought or your grandparents bought when they got married, and it still survives. Something that you need to account for when you design things is that, okay, when someone's going to buy my product, how are they going to feel about it? How are they going to feel when they use it? Like, is it really solving something? And when it dies, what does one actually do with the product? Can it be repaired? Do we intentionally don't want to make it easy to repair because certain brands do that as well? So good design isn't just about solving problems, right? It's about understanding habits through repair, reuse, and adaptation. Right. So what have I done over the past few years? So in the last few years, I worked in the toy industry. I worked with Ather Energy, if you guys know about the electric two-wheeler brand, right? So they have service centers. To be honest, like 3 years ago, their service centers were never really designed. So I designed the service centers, which is now a pan-India project. And I currently work in Air India, where I lead their booking flow and manage my booking. So that would mean I worked in the toy, the tech, the automobile, and the aviation industry. But the one thing that's common across all of them is everyone understands context. What do you mean by context, right? Um, so to make it much more clearer, I'm going to take you through one of the projects that I did when I was literally as old as you, or like 2 years older than you guys were, right? So it was for this brand called Gween. Gween was a Bangalore-based brand that makes toys based out of Channapatna, but sold them in Australia and UK. See, it's quite interesting because now you're taking artisans from Channapatna, you're taking skilled laborers and selling it to a completely different audience. But what you also need to understand is that when you're designing with constraints such as limited colors, now I'm pretty sure you guys have seen the Channapatna toys. They generally don't look anything like this, right? They've got green, bright blue, bright red, and bright yellow. So how do you design for an audience who are so used to pastel colors, right? So that's where my thesis came in. It was called Design for Play and Toys for Queen. The brief that was given to me was I had to design 5 toys for the entire range. So again, today's talk would be through taking you through the process of one of those toys. Now, when you think of toy design, you think that it is the most easiest thing in the entire universe because you can make anything fun almost, right? Because you could make a toy out of anything. But at the same time, you also need to understand that it comes with a massive pressure that parents have, not even children. Parents are like, oh, I need a soft toy for my kid. I need a toy that teaches them science and maths. But over the years, what you understand from play itself is different. Did you ever know that the Uno that we play has braille for people who are blind, right? Barbie is no longer white, and it's not just the Indian Barbie, but like a whole different range of color complexions. And it also has body types. Now you have like a size 6, a size 8, which is insane. Who would have thought of that? And lastly, Lego comes with like audio instructions. So the idea is that toys make you feel included. Again, you're at an age where you're just learning to make friends. You obviously are trying to figure out the world for yourself. And how do you make children feel wanted and accepted, right? So that feels pretty amazing when you have that in mind. Okay, now you know what the whole global scene is. Okay, I've got space for designing, but like if I am using wood to design, it's important that you do your market study. So I'm not going to go into what the design process is while designing something, but it's important to understand that you don't design the exact same thing that someone already has. Then why design at all, right? So Varnam again is a Bangalore-based design brand who did the same thing, Channapatna toys, where they made it cooler. There were brands across the globe who made wooden toys, not necessarily the same way Chanapatna did, but it is important to understand what they sold and what they did, and which is insane. Do you have any idea what the most popular, like best-selling toy across all of these brands were? It was the Stacker. And I'm pretty sure most of you would have played it. It's basically this one pole with like rings that you put in. And for some reason, everybody loved it. Um, so yeah, so now I have brands that already do the whole wooden games. I need to design toys with constraints. I need to make them cooler at an age where there's iPad and scroll. But I can't assume that that's about it, right? So how exactly do you start? So let's first understand what we have to work with. Now, Chanapatna is called the toy town of India, like how we have the Bangle village, Bangle town, and all of that, right? Here, every household mostly makes toys. So we've got the first constraint. You cannot make anything cubical, cuboidal, anything square, extruded. It all has to be cylindrical, spherical, or cone because it's made on the lathe. First constraint. Second, your color choices. Gradation, maybe if you really try, but you can't really achieve the whole make it muted pink and all of that. It needs to have like that certain bright color. So how do you make that like balance? But while the constraints are on one side, as a designer, what is your role, right? You really need to think, what do toys mean for children? Everyone likes a fun toy. Everyone likes to play with it. But what more? Always ask, what more can I give, right? Toys need to help you imagine. You need to be able to tell stories. I make a story with a toy. Can I go share it with my friend? Again, can I make friends with my toys who don't judge? Because again, I'm super young. I'm still figuring that out. Can they keep me company? Like the ones people hug and sleep at night, or like again, a tea party maybe. Can I build with my toys? Can I break with my toys? If I break my toys, then can I repair my toys? Can I give it a completely new life? And most importantly, do I feel included and like wanted? And something that's even more common is, can I learn something out of it, right? Um, so good design doesn't really start with sketching. Like you say that this is the problem, I think this is solid, and then instantly you start sketching or even research with that matter. But it really starts with asking the right questions. Do we even need this product? Start with that. Like really start with that. Because we've already got too many products. So is this required? Ask the right question. Who am I actually designing this for? Like what is the purpose of it? Now something that I and along with a lot of batchmates of mine, the mistake that we did was we were told, remember who your user was. So we had a fill in the blanks answer. So we're like, okay, our users are children, and that's about it. What kind of children are we designing for? How old are they? What is their gender? Where are they coming from? Are they Indian? Are they from the Australia? Or like, what have they grown learning about? Because what we believe in probably isn't accepted in other culture and vice versa, right? So a good product only comes from good questions. And to be honest, spend your time asking the right questions than designing and then figuring out that why did I waste so much time? I mean, this is one of my favorite illustrations. Parents buy toys, say, oh my God, this is amazing, this is what I want. But at the end of the day, what exactly is the kid seeing after the toy is bought, right? I mean, until a certain age, you're probably never going to see that elephant's face or the tiger's face. And you've got the most wrongest view. Okay, this is the crucial step, and this is going to help you throughout. Before you design something and you've asked your questions, make a list of things that you want as a designer in the end product. Now, this is sort of going to help you make like a checklist. So, as a designer, what I want? I wanted the toy to be safe for children. That goes as a no-brainer. I want to be safe for environment because again, we're using natural materials. Obviously, I wanted to be fun to play with, and I wanted something to like I wanted to have a play value. So, what exactly is a play value? Having a fun toy is one thing, but having a toy that is fun throughout is a whole different thing. Do you realize that even adults use Legos to play with, right? That's because you can have so many permutation combinations with that. So extend your product life. Can I help children learn something new? Maybe like develop skills because wow, that's a great USP to have. Can I make them feel included? And most importantly, to make that toy, keep your manufacturing process always in mind. Keep the color palette. And one more thing is keep the pricing, right? Always have a rounded figure. Um, Most times, what design students do is we spend 90% of our time researching, saying, okay, this is like a solid problem, this is my user, but we really rush through make that product, right? So give enough time for everything. Sketch that product, figure out how you're going to build it. I mean, the idea might be fantastic and you'll be making it out of paper, but at the end of the day, you need something that works, right? Um, so coming to the start of the first toy, we had enough of science and math toys, so we thought, okay, the world would be a better place if only people were kinder. That was our start point. So, how can we make a toy that will help children learn some sort of kindness? Because this is designed for toddlers, right? So, that's where they're developing their habits. So, if you can teach kindness at a young age, then maybe they might just be pretty decent adults. But now is the part where you remember who you're designing for. So if I'm saying kindness, how does kindness look to a child, right? How does it look like? Is it a Labrador? But then what you realize is that dogs are really how they portray kindness in a lot of movies, and not just any dog, but a Dachshund or the sausage dog, which has a little longer body. So this is Slinky from Toy Story. This is The Secret Life of Pets. This is a Friends series, which was later made into English called Madeline. All of them have the Dachshund dog as like this star kind pet. So you're like, okay, you know what? Let's take this as an advantage. We don't have to really reinvent the wheel. Saying, okay, if this is the form that I'm going ahead with, how do I make it with my constraints? Like I said, I can only make a cone, I can make a cylinder, and yeah, I've now fixed. So that's when you start with the whole sketching scenario, right? I can't make a curve like how this is. So how can I actually bring out the nose? So I can make a symmetrical nose. And with that, that's how Milo came in. You need a name that kids can actually say, by the way. So Milo is a Dachshund dog with colors of the rainbow because, again, rainbow is a universal concept. So it doesn't feel jarringly different or too bright for a different context, right? Um, and it's called Rings of Kindness. Now, if you look at the body of it, it's actually entirely made out of lathe. And be creative. How did I make the ears? I made a cone and we cut it into half. That's how you got the ears, right? And because everything is so stiff as wood, how can you bring movable parts? So what we did is we attached a spring at the tail. So if you actually pull the tail back, it starts oscillating. So what exactly does this toy do? Each of those rings are of a different color and they're connected by a magnet. And each ring has a kind word in it. So tomorrow, if I'm mad at my sibling, I'll just leave the, say, let's say, I'm sorry. I don't want to tell you I'm sorry, but I don't like this fighting face of us. So I'll probably just leave this ring in my sister's room and then probably we'll have that conversation. I learn not only the spelling of it, but I also learn new words of it. Now, one more thing that we try to do is you know how magnets have the plus and the minus? Instead of writing the plus or minus, let the kid figure it out, right? Like how opposites attract. So maybe when the rings repel, that's okay. It's okay to make those mistakes. So this is the structure of it. Now, how do you make it fun? How do you extend the play value? If I remove three of those rings, the dog actually shrinks in size. So I can actually do like a parent dog, I can do a baby dog, or I could do like a mid sibling one, right? So that's like a you can make a whole family out of it or like friends. So and then you give it names and then you make like a whole character out of it. So that was the design bit. Now comes the harder part. How do we actually make it? This is also where the language barrier came. I had a translator, we had someone speaking Kannada. So a lot of sign language, and then we actually figured it out. Now, most designers end it over here, or even like one step over here. Always go beyond just making that product. Go one step ahead. How do you pack this product? Like when they have to buy it, right? Think of packaging. And you don't really have to be very actively thinking about packaging. It could just be in the back of your mind saying, is it going to be a box or is it going to be some other structure? If it is the box, what else? is important, right? Because I'm not allowed to open this. How can I show it from outside? How can I extend the life of the packaging? So Green had this policy that at the back or the inside of the packaging, they had like a coloring sheet. So then we had to figure out, okay, if this is a rainbow dog, how do we make like a whole scenery out of it? So jumping over the rainbow in the sky was the thing. So tomorrow, the kid would probably save the colored piece and then have it at home, right? Another step that I want you to go ahead with. Validate, validate, validate. If someone says your product is horrible, go for it. It's okay. You're going to feel a little offended, but it's better that you get it validated way ahead than building the entire thing. So this is my boss's youngest daughter, and unfortunately, this was during COVID, right? We had designed like a couple of toys. So she instantly discovered Milo because, again, children of this age are really struggling to learn. Like, okay, this is an elephant or this is a dog. So a dog is really easy to understand. But like an abstract dinosaur probably wasn't. So she just called it like a mango. So never mind. But it's okay. You need to get those ideas validated. So what I'm trying to tell is good design is wholesome. You don't end with just the product, but you actually think about it entirely. This sort of this thought actually helped me when I did my master's. I had done 4 years of designing products, so I knew the designer's perspective. But how do you sell it? What is the story that you're going to tell, right? So think of the afterlife as well. These were the other products. Now I told you one of the best sellers were the stackable things. So could we change the structure instead of having the largest one at the bottom and the smallest at the top? I mean, that is a very stable structure, but how could we make it different and how could we make it one level harder, right? So you stack the honeybee comb and you have pegs of the honeybee. So again, we were so extra that apart from just packaging and designing, the brand also went on like, oh, how do you put it out on social media or how do you put it on the website, right? So this is if and more. Now, this is one of the products that I really was stubborn about. I love the idea of building blocks, but how do you make a building block without a cube? So everything made entirely of squares with movable parts and entirely changeable. If you change the head from this, you can change the neck. You can, this is a set of 32 pieces and all of them can be made. Again, you don't tell the kid that, oh, make a dinosaur or you make a duck. You make whatever you want and again, you have fun with it. Right. So now coming to the most important parts of designing. You can go to the internet, search how to design products, but these are a few things that you need to keep in mind, and this is really going to help you. Ask if the problem that you're solving is really a problem. I remember making a spoon to scoop out lotion, which honestly is like the worst idea ever. Second, who exactly are you designing for? This we've gone. Guys, you're in college, don't try to make things complex. Find the simplest solution because sometimes the simplest solution is the most cost-effective one and it might just work. You want something that works over something that has 30 parts that does not really work. Ask yourself, is this product really needed? Does this need to exist? How will it fit into someone's life? Like, think about how this product would come into someone's routine, right? This especially works for products that are like medical. Like I had worked on something called a nebulizer. So how does it work on medical products or something like that? What are the assumptions that you're making and how will you test them? I can't say that, okay, I feel a lot of people are wasting water when they are filling water from a water can, right? Is it really a problem? So actually get that cross-checked. Most importantly, is this solution that you're designing really worth your effort, cost, and time? Tomorrow, when you actually go out there to start your own business or work for a company, the first thing they're going to ask you is if I'm going to put so much money in it, will I make more money than what it is, right? So, again, make the simplest solution. Don't go to make it too complex. What does success look like? How do you measure that your product is actually working, right? All these points will help you pitch your case better tomorrow, even when you present to your faculty or your jury. Um, and most importantly, like, can it connect with people emotionally? Again, this is like something that's not easy. Can it make an impression? And lastly, can it scale, evolve, or survive in the real world? If I show you the silhouette of a Harpic bottle and ask you which bottle this is, all of you will be able to guess it. Same with Coca-Cola. But if I do probably a soda can of Fanta, you wouldn't even be able to recognize which soda can it is, right? Um, so some things are iconic, so play with the form as well. Most importantly, plan for every step. This is where we make a massive mistake. We spend a lot of time in research and building something, but when you're in college, especially when you've got that time, make time for this. Make things look beautiful. Present it well. Like, don't just make half structures. I mean, I know that architects spends a lot of time. You guys have probably have some sleepless nights, but make things look good as well, no matter what people tell you. Back everything with research. When you're designing a product, what is your biggest USP? There could be 100 products that are the exact same as yours, but how is yours different? One differentiation, good enough, but something needs to be different. And lastly, document everything. So yeah, wrapping everything up, you design for the living, you design for context, for culture, for people, and the planet. Uh, like how we started, if you guys want to see a few of the other projects that I've done, I have a website which will look something like this. Right? A real quick thing. So tomorrow, if you're actually interested, if you're actually struggling, you've got something to look forward to. Again, something I didn't learn in college or I learned really late in life is document everything. Everything you make, have pictures of it. For memory tomorrow, great. But also for like projects. Like for example, we made a box like this, right? It was a jewelry box for a mirror. I could have just ended it with by making this box, but you go one step ahead, photograph it well, ask your friend to pose, dress up if you can, but like have the entire process back because it helps people understand what were you thinking, what shade of wood did you use, and why did you use it, right? Have a reason for everything, back everything with a why. So yeah, that's about it. And next would be have fun. With that, we come to the end of this session. I don't want to bore you more. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to take it. You guys sleep. You can nod. It's okay, it's fine. Try to keep it like super short. But I really hope you guys got to like take something back. What I'm trying to tell you is make products that are worth remembering and worth the effort. And one thing that you can probably try is you're in a phase of life where you can really experiment. No one's going to ask you, oh, like I'm putting so much money, is there going to be like a waste of space, right? Um, so yeah, take the harder problems, have the simpler solutions. And yeah, that's about it. And
Thank
you
you so
guys
much.
have, yeah,
Yeah. So it was really fun. I mean, seeing how the product comes to life as in
yeah,
hearing it through the maker's words. I mean, as in we could see this product and not know the story behind it. I mean, so that way, I mean, I'm sure that I mean I really enjoy finding out about Milo and okay, if I see the toy, I mean now I remember that. I mean, what is it about? I mean, again about making kindness cool.
yeah.
I went into
Actually,
the
that was the whole idea of it. Like, how do you bring it and make it like a mainstream thing? For sure, for sure.
yes,
But
yeah. So then I would like to open it up for the students to ask any questions they may have. They are at the beginning stage of understanding product design, but they have done other things during, I mean, as in they have done projects, but not really looked at user and product in detail, which they're going to do this semester.
awesome.
Yes. So, yes, you have a question?
So my first question would be like, when you launched your first product, like the Queen, the toys, how was your like what did the reaction you got, and how did you feel?
Awesome. Okay. Right. So I had learned 4 years of product design. COVID hit, and I was like, okay, now I need to just get out of home because I really need like So this was my internship, right? There is a studio in Koramangala called Resonant Design. Queen is their sub product. So they had already like a range of toys going on for them at that point. Designing toys initially and getting them accepted by my then boss was like a big thing because I thought every toy that I designed was like really cool. I was like, wow, this is insane. Guys, never go for your first idea. The first idea is like the worst idea. Never, ever. Like you'd be convinced and you'll have a my baby syndrome that probably won't get a better design, but don't ever. So getting first of all those designs approved by my boss was like, whoa, that is a whole different thing. I think that was better than the product going live or prototyping it. And when it actually went live, when the first prototype actually came out, I wasn't even working in the company anymore. My juniors from college had to do the branding for that. It's obviously like a really cool feeling. But I might just share a screen on how that felt. But best feeling ever. And that feeling never changes, by the way. Like, so this was the first time me and Atharva, we had like held the product that we designed. I had like a video call going on for this. The same thing happened when Aether's service center also. So from making small products, I went to designing spaces. When Aether's service center also went live, best feeling ever because you're like, whoa, this is like a all India project that's gone out live. Again, with Air India, when something goes live, it's it's a very cool feeling because you feel very validated and it's like years. Like the bigger the company, the longer it takes for the product to go out, right? So, I mean, you guys will probably have it harder because you'll have like buildings and spaces to design, but that feeling never changes. It is amazing. So yeah.
So my one more question is that basically I'm an overthinker, okay? So
Mm.
if I go for a validation,
Mm.
if I go for a validation and what if the other person doesn't like it, I get low. So how to
Okay.
overcome that?
Okay. I'm a massive overthinker. So perfect. We're aligned on this, okay? Two things. Being an overthinker is great for a designer because at one point, no matter what you design, after a point, you start hating your own designs. Like now, when I think of it, I'm like, please don't show this ever again to me. Uh, so that's gonna happen, and that's a good thing. If you fall in love with your designs, then you're not moving forward. But when you are designing the product, stop overthinking after one point, right? How do you do that? Take people's opinions, but take only people's opinion who really matter to you. Don't go take everyone's opinion. 30 students in the class, don't ask everyone's opinion because too many cooks will spoil the broth. So have people you look up to. It could be people of the same class, people who are younger than you, people who are older than you, your faculty. Have few people who you actually look up to and who you believe give you decent advice. Now, something that I do apart from that, like even now in Air India, I go ask my manager saying, do you think this works? But before I go to that, I do the overthinking for myself. So am I convinced? Okay, cool. If I'm decently convinced, guys, you're at an age where you've got so much AI tools. Even if you aren't well versed, the first thing you can do the brainstorming by yourself. Don't brainstorm with AI, right? Core idea, brainstorm by yourself. But get it validated using Claude or ChatGPT, saying, hey, this is the idea. Think of it from all kinds of perspectives and have a conversation. Don't buy everything that you do, right? Get your design validated, but from a source where you're thinking from all points and all perspectives. So, two things: don't ask everybody, ask only people who you look up to, and get use tools that you have. Like, really, like, for example, I put two screens on ChatGPT and I'm like, what do you think? Find out things that I can't see. What are the faults over here? Things like accessibility. Like, for example, when you're designing the buttons of a screen on your phone, it will be huge for my eyes, but my grandmother will be like, why is it not covering half the screen yet? So have that validated. So yeah, that's about, but at one point, stop overthinking also. That's where having a timeline for the designing thing works. Before you start researching also, take a piece of paper saying 2 days for research. I can spend those full 2 days. But in those 2 days, my research stops and have the last few days for the presentation. Because don't make a product that looks really like everyone likes to see a good looking product. Everyone wants to know the whole story of it and give time for storytelling. Because, um, yeah, okay, in all honesty, if Apple did not sell the way Apple sold its first iPod, people wouldn't even know how cool it is. They'll be like, it's so plain. It's just one square and it goes in the pocket, but like it's not cool enough. I don't even like taking Apple's example, but the second they slid it out of their pocket and be like, oh, this is small. That's insane, right? So you need to give every product a great storytelling. So yeah, that's about it. Uh, Also, guys, no one will ever remember the questions you asked in this class. So it's better you ask like the number of times someone's like, any questions? Any questions? I'm like, no, no, no questions. We can all leave now. But like, if at all.
So,
Do we, yeah.
I want to know a bit more about the Aether. I mean, if you can just talk us through it.
Yeah, sure. So product design happened in 4 years of bachelor's, and I thought, let me do a job. That's when COVID hit. I did Green, and I thought, toys will change the world, and I want to become a toy designer, and that was set in stone. At the same time, my sister was applying for bachelor's, and she wanted to become a designer as well, but she didn't want to build products. She liked the idea of illustration and graphic design, and she wanted to apply for National Institute of Design (NID). So at the same time, my mom was like, "Oh, if she's applying, you can also apply." And I was like, there is no way I'm getting in, but let me just give it a shot, but like with zero hopes. So I applied for two courses. One, toy design, because we wanted to change the world. And the other was retail experience. I know how to design products and I do it decently well. How do I sell it? I mean, I absolutely love the idea of storytelling and how people interact with it, right? So I said, let me take retail. I wrote both the exams, cleared both, got a national rank, and I was like, no, I'll take it. Uh, so NID has placements for, okay, just 2 minutes. NID has placements for uh, internships, which is insane. My old college did not. Um, that's how Aether happened. So now that I learned retail experience, they're like, now you design space. If you Google Aether Experience Center, it's one of the most good-looking showrooms in terms of automobile, right? They completely changed how two-wheelers looked because earlier products used to be lined up. There'll be 50 two-wheelers inside a showroom. But Ather was like, you know what? The whole concept of EV is so new. People don't even know what electric vehicle is. So they dismantled one two-wheeler and said, okay, this is the chassis, this is the colors we have. And they only displayed 1 to 3 two-wheelers. And they spent all the money there. But the thing about EV two-wheelers is everyone puts their money on the product and everyone puts their money on selling it. No one puts the money on service centers because service centers for EV vehicles don't make money. So why will a business put in money when you're not getting money back? Why is it cheaper? Why do they not make money? Because repairing and servicing parts of electric two-wheelers are way cheaper, right? Uh, so if you went to any service center, it would look eh, like questionable because your two-wheeler is like 2 lakhs and your service center looks like your mechanics to service center might just be better. So real quick, I might show this for you, right? Right. So this is how the showroom looked, and this is how the service center looked. Like this is seating for the showroom, this is seating for the service center. So if I bought a 2 lakh worth two-wheeler and then came to a service center that looked like this, 2 seconds I'll question if I came to the right place. I mean, this is still a fairly decent image. This is the waiting outside the service center, and you won't believe there is a waiting room inside. So why are people ready to stand 40 minutes outside when they could have sat inside, right? Long story, and yeah, the inside was really not the best. So long story short, they told me because I was an intern there, you can design the service center. And I said, okay, awesome. I've never done it. I'll do it. How much is the budget? They said zero. So I was like, uh, can you tell again? And like, no, the actual budget for the service center is zero because we don't really want to spend money. And each of these service centers are not really owned by the brand. It's like distributors, right? So one person will have sofa from their home, which will be fancy, and the other person will have like two plastic chairs. So how do you make the service center look and match this feel with the budget of this, right? Um, so yeah, the entire research. So this is my thesis project presentation, not even the book, right? And then I went to like my research is a little extensive. I went what all like this is how the YouTube channel looked, by the way. It's too funny, but like whereas the service center for premium brands, they had ads for service. So then you take the two-wheeler, drive different parts of uh, Bangalore, figure out that that this are not distributed properly. A bunch of these things. Some service centers had this steep slope. So how will people even enter this? So then you'll have people in the service center to take you up there. So technically, it's not about space anymore. It's about how are you treating your users, right? Same for product design when you're making smaller products. You never thought about the entrance. Uh, and then you go to competitors, Yamaha, KTM, Honda, Wings, and research. And then you come to like the final product. So coming back to your question, Elsa, on how Ather Service Center went was it was basically space optimization. You wanted to wait, let me show you a screen. You want a service center that is warm and welcoming like a not as warm as a bakery, but not as cold as a clinic, right? Clinics are extremely functional, but they're really hostile. So how do you want to keep Aether lounge area? Um, and yeah, then the whole division of space. So what I did was, you guys are probably better at this. You divide the space for vehicle entrance and people entrance because they noticed that the entrance was getting dirty because people also enter the same way and vehicles also. So why not just separate it, right? Uh, Easiest way to keep it clean. Then yeah, guys, God lies in detailing, right? Every small thing from like I literally just told, you know what, it'll be nice to have a sticker which says genuine parts. And they actually implemented that genuine parts sticker because tomorrow when the user is spending so much, they should at least feel that, thank God I didn't go to my local mechanic because I'm like, oh, I'm at least getting genuine parts. Reassurance, small things really matter. Um, and then, yeah, how do you make it better? Like small detailings, I'm not going into that. But yeah, by the way, this is coming from someone who had never used AutoCAD. And I was like, whoa. But uh, at the end of the day, you're always solving like a problem. So one of the things we saw sofas in the beginning. One man comes who's plumpy, sits on the sofa, no one wants to sit near him. So how do you account for multiple people sitting, right? Uh, every rider who comes in brings a helmet. So where do you store those helmets? Because yeah, anyway, everyone's coming with it. So why not just put it inside? You want something that's sleek. You want something that does not have armrests so that people can equally distance themselves out. You want something that your local carpenter can also make, but you cannot use real wood. So how do you make budget-friendly, sturdy furniture, right? So having said that, the final output was something like it's like this. Right? So that is a prototype, but you've got now suddenly you've got so much space because now you're only using 2 feet tile, and that is fabulous because now you have so much space. Uh, so it's great to understand why certain problems exist in the first place before you say that this is a problem, right? It's easy to say that this is a problem, but it's important to understand why is that a problem. And secondly, how do you solve it? Like you want cheap solutions. Nobody, even the most luxurious brands don't want expensive solutions. They would probably have the larger chunk of profit, but everyone wants to make the most economical or viable solution, right? So few things that you need to remember. Why am I doing what I'm doing? For everything, even color choices. To shade up am I still sharing my screen?
No, we can't see your screen.
Okay, okay, okay. 1 minute. Uh, right.
Yes.
Yes. So the jewelry thing that I showed you guys. So I was fortunate enough to have really. I've got faculty who were like, Sam, why are you doing this? So it is important to ask those questions before I went and showed it to them. Right. So for this box, just to decide the color, you wanted something that was traditional, but for the modern women, right? So you're always like a vision board, always have imagery going on. Like, who am I actually designing this for? So it keeps reinstilling the idea in your head. So the idea what I'm trying to show you is if I went for a dark shade of wood, it looked like some heritage Kerala home. But if I went for some light thing, it would look like ultra fake plywood. So somewhere in between would be like that sweet spot. I mean, it's another thing that this is actually plywood. Again, you want budget. The this product had to look like real wood with gold engraving, but you didn't have the budget for that. So you use plywood, you use a stain, and this is just literally gold chart cut and laser inside. So you literally just press it. So you're like, oh, hot gold poured into luxurious wood. As long as you get the look and feel, it works. Uh, so think of your budget, guys, like really, right? Uh, so yeah. Like my biggest mistakes I did during college was I never questioned myself on is this really a problem? Looking back, I was like, I believe this is a problem, but like, is it truly one? I spent too much time on research. The time when I actually built something, I didn't have enough time to make multiple versions of it. Never go with the first version also. Like, you can do it, you'll make a better product, but never go with the first. And most importantly, tomorrow when you're showing it to your faculty also, or even your peer, like the other classmate, present it well. No one likes shabby things ever, right? Um, the advantage of you presenting it well now in your class is tomorrow when you finish college, you already have it well documented. So that tomorrow when you're applying for a job or a business, uh, you already have work done. You don't have to stress in the last minute. So yeah, and one more thing. Always take references of people who are 100 times better than you. Never your classmates, like ever, right? The person who is the best performing in your class probably is great, but when you're taking reference for your work, really look up to people who are actually out there in the industry, right? Because that's what is possible. So yeah, a few things like this actually help, guys. That's it. It's not too complicated. You just have to like really fall in love with what you do, and that's it. Yeah, I hope I answered the question. Anyone else? Did I bore you guys? Or like, did you at least learn something to take back to like remember? Then that's enough. I've done my job.
So I think that they now that it's become real for them in the sense that okay, yes, product design, but then coming to listen to you, then now it feels like yes, this is something that someone is going to use and
Yeah,
experience.
literally.
Yes. Uh,
When you design your product, honestly ask yourself, will I use the product that I have made? But before you ask yourself that, ask yourself, will I pay money to use the product? Not like if they give me free, I'll use it. Don't do that. Will I pay, buy the product and use it? And then there's true worth in it, right? Uh, so everything needs to have some value. So like think about that as well. Yeah.
so I have another question. You mentioned that you wish that you had spent less time on research and so how do you pace yourself? I mean, now that looking back in hindsight, how would you have paced yourself in say the either or my
Yeah.
book, any
Yeah.
one of those? Yes.
Right. I think luckily for me, over the years, that has improved because you have that realization. If you don't have that realization, then that's not great. How do you pace yourself? First, you identify what is your strongest suit. Like, where are you going to spend time? the least, right? And you need to have some confidence in yourself. Like, I know I can do a good job. Like, for example, I know for a fact if I need to make the best mood boards, I can make it in 10 minutes with like zero help. So, know which is your strongest strength. Give that some time, don't give it like minimal, and know where you're actually struggling, right? Research needs time, but pace it in a way that if you know that this is the problem who you're solving, if you spent enough time for that, give that time because you need to ask the right questions. Give that maximum time. Give a little lesser time to build the product. But when you're asking these questions, already simultaneously ask, okay, what is the easiest way I can solve this? How will I do it? Like in my college, we had laser cutting. We can go to the workshop ourselves and we can cut chart. So, what is my best solution? What is the best way I can build this, right? Can you 3D print it? Can you source it from somewhere? So, give that time. And last is how do you display it? So, pace it according to your strength, is what I'm going to like suggest. Don't over research and under build. Because even now, when companies look at your portfolios, they'll be like, oh, wow, great research, great process. But like, what is the end result? Like, you spend so much time, and then what is the end result, right? So always backtrack also a little. Like, you might have some projects you'll know exactly what you want. So it's okay to do a little reverse engineering. You're like, okay, how do I sell this story as well? That's okay when you're like in short of time. But plan. Always plan before research as well. Uh, and when you plan, also plan to the dot. Don't ever say research primary desk. Tell what you're going to research. Like for today's presentation itself, I was like, okay, what do I actually want to tell you guys? How does product design look? Show the glittery parts, show the not so great parts. What are the mistakes I did? What do you take back home? Right? So go till the dot and then everything will happen fast. So yeah, that's about it.
We have time for a little short question if anyone has. As in about the process or about how do you fit into the work of the product design? Anyone has any questions?
Just out of curiosity, did you guys have like different electives and you chose product design, or everyone gets to get like product design? Oh, so you guys willingly chose product design. Bad, yeah? Quite nice. Okay. And how does the groups, like, how do you split the groups? They choose their own groups.
So today we have decided that based on their strengths, every team needs to have a marketing, user
Oh,
research.
that's
So
okay.
based on their strengths, they are making the groups right now.
Oh,
So
sweet. Nice.
so we also need somebody who is good at material or good at drawing and all. I mean, so everyone doesn't need to have the same skills, is what.
That's actually quite nice. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Uh, think of yourself as professionals, by the way. Not as a blame game, but like tomorrow it's like, okay, who did the material? Like, and did they do like a solid work? Like, whatever job you were assigned, did you actually do? Like, own it, right? It's like building a car. If one thing falls apart, your car is literally going to fall apart, right? So, whatever task is being given to you, or whatever you take up for yourself, actually own it and like do the best you can. And yeah, never take references of peers. Go for the best, always. Little delulu you can be, but it's good. You can go for it. So yeah.
So they're also wondering of how they can use like technology because some of them were looking at technology like making apps. Someone came with the idea of making perfumes. Then I said, okay, we don't have a chemical lab right now. So yes, so it is also to do with what could be done within the resources that are available.
Wait, you can make digital product design in this elective, or is it only supposed to be like tangible products?
Ideally tangible products.
Got it,
But
got it.
yeah, because we our time frame is only this 14 weeks
Mm-hmm.
and to test it and all that. So
Right.
as a team. So you have any advice for them?
No, because now my life is completely moved to the whole digital perspective. Okay, right. Few things that you guys need to know. Is my screen seen? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So when I joined Air India 2 years ago, everyone was like, so I got two offers. I got one from Samsung Research and Development, and the other was Air India, right? And I still chose Air India, and everyone's like, why do you take Air India, bro? And all of that. Because Air India's website looked like this, right? Air India's website still looks like this. Uh, but after Tata bought Air India, it is a whole transformation of making it look nicer, right? And it is not just any kind of nicer, but meaningful nicer in terms of business. So you, irrespective of digital or tangible, have some kind of delightful element. Think of when they hover, can the color change? Can it be nicer? So whoever's planning to do like digital product design as well, always have like some kind of delightful element, guys. Like again, whenever you have the time, I don't want to bore you with this, but like whenever you have the time, you can actually go through a few projects, but like have a delightful element of, whoa, this is quite nice. Um, Solving a problem is a necessity, but making it worth remembering, that's what makes you different. What is your biggest USP? So yeah, that's about it. Uh,
So, are there any more questions? Okay, so it was a very delightful talk, as in, it was a lot of fun to know the behind the scenes of products that we would see. And I mean, and I'm sure that looking back, students will now remember all the things that you were talking about, design for people, for culture, for planet. I mean, I'm really sure that that advice will stay with them. So thank you so much, Samyuktha, for your time and for the advice and for sharing your journey with us.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Uh,
Guys, don't forget to have fun, by the way. Huh? You do all the coursework because 3 years from now, you won't even remember your own coursework. You probably remember how much fun you had. So, like, do both. But thank you so much. It was really nice talking to all of you and meeting you. In case anyone has any doubts, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, I guess, or like you can get my number from ma'am. Yeah, cool, awesome. Bye, guys. Thank you so
thanks
much.
so much.